Hi and welcome to Nerdy Gamers. The game today we're going to be looking at is Shepherd Slaughter as part of the IndieFort Championship bundle. Okay, let's get started then. Now this game was developed by Blindhack and is now part of the IndieFort bundle. Now this bundle is current one which is running. You can buy 3, 6, 9 or 24 games for between just a handful of dollars or up to about $20-25 for the whole amount. So you get to pick an amount of games that you want to have and then pick which ones you have inside your own bundle. Or if you just get them all, you get all access to all of them and a fairly cheap deal for each. It's only works out about $1 a game if you get all of them. Okay, so let's have a look at this game in more detail. You get the ability to set your name. You've got 2 different modes that you can play in, adventure mode or survival mode. And you also have a tutorial which will guide you through the different steps and just teach you a little bit about the game. And you also have the options screen. Now the options screen gives you 2 choices. You can either rebind completely the entire of the key. For instance, if I press enter and do this, I can change the block command from L to O or in reverse. You could also add an additional binding by pressing A, which will just add another binding, so you can have multiple keys to the same command. Now as it happens, I want to change my block over to L, and what was originally on L, which is repair, I'm going to change over to O. It's just that I've got the WSD and JKL as being my main commands for the game. Just find it's going to be a little bit easier to play. High scores lets you see some of the games that you've previously done. As you can see, I've had one relatively successful game and I've played this through a few times just so I can kind of get a better idea. And you can see I've also played through a bit the survival mode. Now the game also lets you see what kind of creatures you've encountered before, and it gives you a running total of how many you've killed. Orcs are fairly popular. Wolves I've seen quite a lot and killed. And you see there's a number of other creatures around. Shades are being fairly common. Seen a troll, but I've yet to defeat a troll. And then you get the credits just so you can see who contributed what to the game. Okay, so what we're going to do is just going to turn that volume down an ever so slight bit. So fortunately one bit that is missing from the game itself, the ability to change the audio in-game other than just an outright music off, music on. It would just be nice if there was a smoother control, and also with the option screens just separating the text from the actual control so you could just see it a little bit more easily. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start off in survival mode. Now survival mode, you have to go around and keep all of these sheep alive. As you can see, they're just kind of herding around the bottom. Now, one of the bits you need to be aware of is getting hold of all of these items. If you don't pick up these items on the ground quickly enough and an enemy was to step on them, they get destroyed. So you need to be relatively quick when doing this. So just going through grabbing all of the equipment. So we've got now 8 seconds left. Now we've got this all collected up, what I can do is I can go equip the weapon. I hit Q, that's my standard default, and then hit enter, and now I've equipped the weapon. So when I press J, little sword swooshes out in front of us. Now the style of this game is very much in a roguelike style, but with a couple of different modes which you wouldn't normally find in your standard roguelike. Now, I don't know if you just saw, the snake managed to run over one of those little blocks, which means it's destroyed. I'd have no access to that resource anymore because it's been destroyed. Now, as I was saying, this is a roguelike. It's kind of a top-down view, very reminiscent of Megatraveller. It's quite an old roguelike game which was set in space using, I think, the 2300 AD rules, or was it the Traveller rules? Well, specifically the Traveller rules, which were kind of an adaptation of another system, I think. I'm not 100% sure. It's going back a little bit. So as you can see, we're going through and we only have a certain amount of time before the next wave turns up. Now as you can see, as I pick up some more of these resources, I get access to new towers and things that I can build. So I can now build a few extra bits and pieces, which I'm going to do. So we're going to come over to here and we're going to select an iron turret, and I'm going to press O. Is it I? What do I use? What's the build? Repair, build. I can't build that. Okay, let's try wooden turret. There we go, I can build wooden turrets. And now, I just picked up some armor. That's some helmet. Gonna grab this armor, and this is a shield. These are quite weak items, but when combined with quite a few other bits and pieces, it means they actually get quite strong. And it also means that my health won't degenerate. Just going to drive him out of the way. As you can see, our turrets are doing their job. They're firing off in front of them. And I'm going to grab some more materials whilst I can. As you can see, there's snakes getting in down over the side. Now if you can look on the right hand side, you'll see a couple of little information bars. It says no range. I've got no range weapon at the moment. M and H. H represents the health of the armor in total. You don't actually get a current count other than by looking at the icon itself. As the armor deteriorates, you'll actually see it visually getting weaker and weaker as bits will like drop off it. The weapon will have a very similar thing, but you can see its current ranking and where it is, so you don't have to keep quite so much of an eye on it. You can just look at the information below. Now, can we build another tower here? We're just going to move that sheep out of the way. No, we don't have enough, but we just had a load more resources drop, so we're going to try and grab as many of them as we can before they get destroyed. Not much of a chance. Now these towers are going to keep some of that central area clear for us. Could really do with a few more of those wooden towers. Now you can see they've just got to it. Now if I can, because they touched it, they destroyed that defense, so that's now gone. We're going to have to rebuild a new one, and the enemies have now gotten minced our sheep. As you can see, I'm down to 2 health. All that, every time I got touched one of the enemies, originally it took down my health, but now I have some armor, it will take it directly off that. So armor is quite useful. It preserves your health completely. Now it's just telling me to start using some of the skill points. So what we're going to do is we're going to press B and go look through some of the skill points. Now what I'm going to do actually is just spend it all in strength, just increase my melee damage. So hopefully I'll be able to kill these creatures a bit quicker. And as you can see, I took a hit there, but my health didn't go down. I'm still stuck on the same 2 health that I was and have been for quite some time. Now it's not such a bad thing. It means that whilst I'm taking damage, it's just affecting my armor. Now if you see, I keep running into these creatures, and eventually you'll start to see some effects happening on the armor, but it's not going to happen right now. We just got to focus on this defense. We've got some very, very fast creatures, and they're also lobbing stuff at us. And now, first weapon broke, so we're going to swap over to the Warhammer. And you see, this causes a lot more damage. Single hit, and it pretty much just kills them straight away. Chase them away. So we can get through, but we haven't admittedly got any more that we can build right at the moment, because we still need more resources. So we're going to just try and grab what else is out there. And you see, we've got enough for an iron fence. There we go. Got enough for another turret. So it's now de-highlighted, so we can't do anything else more. One of the other ones that we can build, not only a wooden turret but an iron turret, you also can make snake pits. Creatures can fall down them. And as you can see, it's just going to have to wait for the next wave. There's nothing else on the screen, but it doesn't hurry up, and there's no button as far as I'm aware to hurry things up. I think we're still doing well on 10 sheep, which is what you originally started off with. Nothing's managed to die yet. So we're just waiting for this new round, and there we go. Got the new wave in. So we picked up some health recovering stuff, and now you can see over on the left hand side, that I believe is a troll. So we've got a big creature coming in, and they're trying to set fire to things. So we're just going to get these out of the way, kill them, grab some more of those resources. As you can see, we can build another tower. So we're going to make use of that, shove those sheep out of the way, and just keep up with these defences. Just generally, if we keep everything away from the sheep, we can keep them alive for a bit longer. Now, as you can see, this particular set of armour is quite durable. Haven't taken any damage of it at the moment. But if we come back over here and start running into this monster, you should start seeing the armour get down quite quickly. Now, as you can see there, the helmet is now starting to fall to pieces, and when the armour breaks, it's immediately replaced with another set of armour. If you don't have any other armour to replace it with, then the damage just goes straight into your health. And this is both true for the survival mode that we're currently in, as it is for the main game. So what you kind of learn here is relevant to the other game as well. So we've just now seen a slug. Unfortunately, it did crop up for a moment, and we've got a rock sling, and fire off some slingshots at these creatures. And now you see there, that's a spider dropping some web, and those webs, if you touch them or anything touches them, you get a lot slower, and you kind of can't move. So these creatures do have different special abilities which can be applied. And some are just fast, some are strong. They all do something. And just kind of keep these slugs away, and they take a lot of damage. Maybe if we try something like a warhammer, might be a bit more effective. As you can drive them away for a while, and that slug just runs straight through. But this is just generally what you do in the survival mode. You just try and keep all your sheep alive, and unfortunately, as you can see, we've lost one of the sheep already. And we're doing quite well, though. We managed to find a decent amount of armour and equipment, so that kind of gives us a head start. Oh yeah, we did manage to kill a slug for the first time, and here we go, we get a load more monsters turning up. But what we're going to do, we're just going to suicide off this, and just tally up all those points. And what we're going to do is we're going to start up an adventure game, so you can take a look at that. Now the terrain in this is all randomly generated. It's kind of back to the classical what roguelike should be all about. So while there's some general styles to each of the different terrain elements, they are all randomly generated. Now here's slightly different. When you go through and show your skills, you see you've got basic skills in everything. Speed represents how fast you move, strength, constitution, the ability to dodge. But what we do have is this old man over here. Now if we talk to him, he can give you a load of equipment and some basic skills. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off and become a knight. So when we check our skills, as you can see, some of our stats have now changed. We don't have ones in everything. We've lost out on some bit, but we've gained in other areas. Our speed's slightly faster, our shields is better, our swords is better, our strength is better, but our agility has gone down slightly. So one of the things we're going to do is we're going to up, we've also only got 2 skill points instead of 3. We're going to up our sword skill to make best use of the sword. We're also going to up our helmet skill. So that means our helmet should last a lot longer, and we're going to equip up the sword. Now one of the things is, in this mode, if you hold down the left shift whilst there's no creatures in the area, you can run, so it doesn't take so long to navigate around the area. When we press M, which shows the map, you can see where each of the keys are. These keys are important. We need to go get them so that we can get into some of the dungeons and start trying to get hold of the artefacts. If you get hold of an artifact, then you can also pick up a skill point as well. Now, this is the first time I've encountered this particular creature, the Zombie King, and zombies. So, a little bit unsure as the best tactic of how to deal with these. Combat pretty much goes along this same simplistic line. It's all done real time. It's not turn-based like some roguelike, well, most roguelikes, but even being turn-based does not necessarily mean you're a roguelike. For instance, you've got the roguelike Doom, which is entirely done in real time, but it's still a roguelike game. So we've got stats which we can raise. Oh, we're getting these are tough old creatures. I don't think this is going to be the best way of handling these. I'm not sure. We'll probably just use up the rest of the sword and just see if we can actually defeat these at all, or is it a complete waste of time. Yeah, that sword's just completely broken and we've not managed to do anything. We've not even killed any of these yet. So combat tends to be a little bit faster than this. This is an unusual scenario with living dead. I have no idea why those were being able to take so much damage. Obviously it's something I need to learn. Now, to give you some more information throughout the game can provide you scrolls of wisdom. Also NPCs which can provide you additional information. So it's worth gathering up this, because it can help you learn more between the games. As you can see, if you hit the G, which is the standard key, wisdom gained, it just tells you this information, so you've got it at hand, so you don't actually have to search this far. Now, these are the more likely creatures. Now, if I actually had a sword, which does a lot more damage, we'd be able to get through these a lot quicker. But instead, we're just going to have to punch them to death. Now, one of the nice things is about this game, whilst the skill points, you only start off with them and get some when you acquire the artefacts, you can level up your skills as you go along by use. Now, if we go here, fists is at 0.9. Now, as I go along and continue to use fists as a weapon, we'll slowly start to gain some more skill in them. And periodically, not every single time, but the game will let you know that you've improved your skill. As you can see, even though I only have 10 health, I've not been damaged because the armour just completely negates damage, but it only has a limited amount of health itself, so you can't completely rely on it, and if you want to be safe, you need to make sure you've got a good supply of armour. And as you can see, some of these enemies do have ranged fire, and they fire at quite a heavy rate, so you need to try and use the terrain in order to deal with them and get them into a place where they can't make use of their ranged combat. Now, this is one slight problem with the game, is occasionally you do get knocked off, and when you get knocked off, it'll start generating a new map if you haven't been there before, or just loading the old map instead of giving the opportunity to choose whether or not you go from one area to the next. Now, these creatures not too strong, but because I'm not using a weapon, I have to go through them with my fist. Now, all that money can be used. Now, we just searched the chest over there. There was nothing in there. Oh, no. There you go. They have been moved out from the area, and they moved over here. That's a little green thing. That's a little lizard. Quite erratic movement. We're getting knocked around a bit. So eventually hopefully we'll be able to kill some of these without actually getting knocked off the screen. There are some advantages for actually killing the creatures. Not only do you get the skill up, but if you can kill them, you can sometimes pick up some loot. So it's worth hunting down creatures at times, depending on how much you've got at hand. If you've got a lot of equipment, it can just be a waste of your resources to go fight them. Once you've acquired a key, then it will show you the location of the corresponding dungeon. The dungeon is sort of like a single 1x1 area, but with multiple floors. So you'll slowly go down and down into the dungeon, getting further and further as you're trying to find the actual artifact. And as you can see, we've now defeated this creature. We did pick up a weapon from it, so it's worth fighting these now and again, especially when you need equipment. The environment is destructible, but only by certain types of weapons. You can use a hammer to destroy rock-like items. You can use the axe to destroy tree-based items, hedges, plant life. Now the dungeons, quite good for pickups. There's a lot of chests in them. So probably each level you'll find maybe 1 or 2 chests, sometimes more. So you get more opportunities to find items. Means more weapons, more armor, more ways of protecting yourself, more ways of keeping yourself alive. Also, you can find and acquire an awful lot of money quickly, so that should you find a shop, which I've yet to do outside the tutorial, you'll be able to buy yourself a lot of equipment quite quickly. As you can see also, that last block on the side just shows you what the terrain is going to be like in the next area, and as you can see, it's a walled area. You don't see the corners, mind you, it just shows the ones immediately to the left and to the right, up and down. Now over here we've got a load of barrels. We're going to just get these guys killed so we can hopefully get some more training, maybe find some items. Aha, we found a sling, and we're going to open these up. Artifact places are always on the lowest level of each dungeon. Yep. I've gone down quite a few levels of a dungeon and not found anything yet. As you can see, we picked up 2 keys and we can now see the location of 2 of the dungeons. So over there is the dungeon, and that circle is something new. The Stone of Teleportation. I've never come across that before. Now once we've opened up the dungeon, we hit N and we go into the dungeon itself. So it's now generating the dungeon. This is interesting. Those look like gelatinous cubes almost. Now there's a sword over here that we can grab hold of, and as you can see, this is one of the reasons why going into dungeons is quite good, because there's an awful lot of equipment that you can get hold of. So not just equipment but also armor. We've been a bit unfortunate, we've not found that much armor, and the only bit of armor we found was a shield. We've already got a good shield and we're not really using shields at the moment. So again, we just head down and we keep exploring the dungeon. Now I don't know how far these dungeons go down. Never actually managed to complete one yet. Now one of the bits is, if you actually hit a creature, your combat attacks go fast. If you miss and just wave it around in the air, it's kind of one of the penalties for missing and just randomly button mashing. It does take a lot longer to recover. So if you want to do well, you want to try and hit the creatures and not just wave the sword around in the air. So each of the dungeons that I've seen so far, which is just a grand total of 2, do seem to have different flavours to them. Now that is one thing. If you press N too many times, it kind of remembers, and so it ends up lagging a little bit. Now the sword can't chop through that. What we're going to do is we're going to use the hammer. We're going to bash ourselves through this wall, just so we can avoid that great big concentration of gelatinous cubes. It's just a fight that we don't have to have, so we're going to avoid having it completely. Now this is a health potion. When your health gets low, too low in fact, it'll actually automatically use any health potions, so it'll give us another chance to stay alive. And it does use up an inventory slot. Now there's also some yellow potions that you can find, which increases your maximum health. Sometimes the gameplay can feel slow and sluggish, but those who are used to playing RPGs, rather the more traditional RPGs rather than the action RPGs, shouldn't find the pace too slow, and there's certainly quite a bit to explore and new things to see. It will just keep you going for a while. The only thing is maybe a little bit more frequency on some of the weapons, or just health of the weapons, just so you can get a bit more use out of them. We are getting there. We are dungeon level 8, so I have no idea, but I'd guess maybe dungeon level 10 might be the one that we're after. It would seem kind of logical. I'm running low on health, but we have been finding equipment at least. Whoa, that was not good, not good, not good, and we just got knocked around with the knockback too much, and we just ended up trapped in a corner. And that's it. Once you die, it tallies up your score, and it's game over. And with most cases of roguelike game, if you start up a new game and you say you want to quit to save, or quit or save, when you save the game, that's it. It kicks you out of the game, so you only can really have one game running at a time. So it introduces the whole concept of permadeath. So as you can see, save game, and returns you to the menu at the same time. And as you can see, the new game, we got up to, the score was largely based off the gold. So even though I probably got further and did more in that game, did not score as high as the other game where I'm just picking up endless amounts of gold. So this has been a look at the Shepherd Slaughter. It's quite an interesting game. It's a top-down RPG, very much in the roguelike-esque, randomly generated dungeons and terrain, random equipment, knowledge that you pick up and can take between games, but also is there, you have to learn it in the game as well. And it's just quite an interesting little game. As part of the IndieFort bundle, it's definitely got a strong contender, and nothing else. You can pick this game up by itself for $3 over at Blindhack's website. For those who are interested in their RPG roguelike games, this is probably a good one to check out. You can probably get quite a long gameplay out of it. It would be nicer if there was a little bit more variation to some of the terrain and some of the generation. But even then, it's still going to give you a fairly decent amount of content to go through. Okay, that's been a look at this game. I hope you've enjoyed. I'll see you next time.